Welcome to a N9ne review. So we're going to talk about his 2015 album Special Effects. First things first, I am not going to jump ship and say that this is the best album ever just because it's the newest thing on the market. Really, I like N9ne quite a bit, but that doesn't mean that every single new CD he releases is always the best one yet. So, and that's just a kind of trick that some people may or may not fall under. But I will say, in terms of theatrical sense, it is totally blows the doors wide off the hinges as far as what he's been working with. Just the effects, obviously the effects of the album, the production, the guests, and the presentation are all top notch. This is probably, the best presentation that we've had on a N9ne album, and I'm really proud of it. The only thing is when you take away some of that, his songs that do not feature guests are kind of the weaker songs, which is really strange because I know N9ne, and I don't just want to say that, but when you look at some of these songs on here, the ones that I liked the best were the ones that had the guests on them, and I don't know. I mean, it just is strange because there's not necessarily that many album cuts on this CD. So what you're getting is a bunch of records that can ignite a party, but in a lot of ways, well, some of these, like, well, let's just go to songs you can smoke to. This is going to be a longer review just because there's a lot of songs on here, and this is just going to be a lot to digest. So, first off, the songs you can smoke to, there's quite a handful of them. This really sounds as if it's the negative incarnation of a EDM album, and I really like that. It's pulsating, it's pounding, it's invigorating, it's captivating, it's hypnotic. It really has this sort of sound that's going to drill into your head, and it's like a supersized version of angelic almost. So some of these records are On the Bible, Shroud, Psycho Bitch 3, Hood Go Crazy, Bass Ackwards, and Yates, and possibly Speed 'em. These are all bliss, exhilarating songs. The production, now this is kind of where something went awry, to me at least, just because you're gonna hear songs like "Aw Yeah," "Aw Yeah," however you say it, "Aw Yeah," "Lacrimosa," "Wither," and these just do not fit with the overall picture, and it just made me wonder what was N9ne trying to get accomplished with this release, because it feels more of like a chimera type thing, the multiple headed beast. It feels more like that than just one focused monster as to the whole thing that it might have had in mind. So you're going to find some releases on here, like especially the later half of the last quarter of the album, A Certain Comfort, Burn It Down, Dyin' Flyin', Worldly Angel. All of these songs don't really invigorate you as much as the middle of the album does. And so a lot of these, like the 2 Chainz song, the T.I. song, the Hopsin song, the Eminem song, the Lil Wayne song, all of these are just, they do it and they don't hold back. And this is the type of N9ne that feels so apparent just because it proves that he can make an album with features, and he fits right into a commercial rap mold without losing his touch. But unfortunately, he still comes up short. So it's just mysterious as to why some of these other songs, that's why I said at the beginning, why the songs without guests did not do that well. I don't know. It would probably take me a good 30 minutes just to come up with why that is. That is pretty much my only question mark. But the unheard songs, so these are the ones that I liked. I actually only like 7 out of 18 songs. I know that feels strange, but this is just a beast of an album. So the ones I liked were On the Bible, Shroud, Hood Go Crazy, Bass Ackwards, No K, Gates, and Life Sentences. Now, all 7 of these, like I said, they do what I was explaining to you earlier. They're a dark version of some of the house records. It just feels like club gone right. N9ne is pretty much a wizard at this sort of thing. But there were some almost songs as well, and it tried my patience just because if he would have nailed each and every one of these almost songs, it would have upped the quality of it a lot more. So the first one is Psycho Bitch 3. This one has slick production on it, but it kind of, by the third verse, it kind of burns out a little bit, and the production just changes too much. I do like it, and I might eventually like it more, but that's one. Speed 'em was the second one. I felt this one was, just because Eminem's on it does not mean it's a instant hit, but of course, the only reason I can think is just because it did not fit for a song. Obviously N9ne has better songs on this release than the song with Eminem, and I thought, why didn't he just pick a song like No K, Bass Ackwards, or Shroud and throw him on that? It just felt like this was a waste of an Eminem song just because it feels not cooked entirely. Speed 'em is not the hardest hitting song on this album, and to not put Eminem on the hardest song kind of raised a question mark in my head. But, it might grow on me over time, but the production on it just was not nearly good enough to call it a hit. And then Roadkill was another one, but there's only one verse by N9ne on this song, and I thought, well, it's probably because there wasn't enough room on a CD for it, but he probably should have just taken off one of the skits. If we would have had 2 verses, something like that on the song, that would have been another, and this is what I'm talking about. You need to go for that song to see how excited it's going to make you, but there's only one verse. It just felt like an appetizer. So, with the 7 songs I mentioned, and then those 3, it would add up to 10, but I'm not going to score it higher if I'm not positive I'm going to like the songs. So, I want to recommend this, but it's probably just a little bit beneath recommending entirely, and I'm going to give this album, because I like 7 out of 18, that's not even half, so I'll give this album a 4 out of 10, and, obviously, if I liked 10 out of 18, I'd give it like a 5.5, but it's still not super huge, so you just have to refer to earlier in the review to figure out why this album did not hit by like a huge degree. So, yeah, the future N9ne's got Strangulation Volume 2, which I will be reviewing when it comes out, and there is also The social score, I will give this album a 6.5 social, just because the guests are gonna get a lot of attention. It's almost commercial, but Tech N9ne's still Tech N9ne, so it's, you don't have to worry about him losing his touch, but there just isn't enough. I mean, the best songs make the rest of the songs feel inferior. So, can it be topped? Yes, in a lot of ways, but this is a good look for Tech N9ne. I hope he makes another several albums like this, just with more hits on them. So subscribe for more fun. I give this album a 4 out of 10 and a 6.5 social.